What's going on, guys? Welcome back to YGO Podcast. I'm your host with the most, Patrick Ramsey. Thank you guys for coming back to the channel to support us, and I really appreciate all the support. We're at 233 subscribers. I would have never thought I've gotten this much subscriber in such a short time frame that, you know, it's really, really humbling, and I respect and love the community. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We're upping the deck profiles to twice a week. Where I've got some great builds coming out. I've got some more stuff that's pending here. I've got quite a few niche decks out there for those of you that really love niche decks. And I've got quite a few meta decks that are coming around as well. So please stay tuned. They will be coming out as we have the release of Photon Hypernova. I'll have way more deck profiles coming through as I have a case coming in the mail sometime this week. Without further ado, please, I would like to present to you the Fluffy Bunny Cat archetype Purrely. And this deck premiered here in the TCG in Amazing Defenders. And its theme is essentially building one monster into one large XYZ monster that is pretty much unkillable with over 1,000,000 attack. I'm just kidding about the 1,000,000 attack, but I am serious about building on one XYZ monster and making that monster as strong as possible. So that's what you're doing in this deck. That's the theme, and let's go ahead and get into it and see what it's got. So you're going to be running 3 Purrely. This is going to be essentially your only main deck monster. It's going to be a level 1 fairy type monster, and it's got 100 attack and 100 defense. It excavates 3 cards when it's normal or special summoned. It excavates 3 cards, and if any of those are Purrelys, then I believe they're purely quick play spells. Yes, purely spelled or trap. You're going to add one of them to the hand and place the rest on the bottom of the deck on any order. And once per turn during your main phase, you can reveal one purely quick play spell in your hand, special summon one XYZ monster from your extra deck that mentions this card, or that mentions that card using this card you control as material, and attach the reveal card to the summoned monster. So with the wording as it is, this deck is meant to expand. So I imagine there's going to be way more Purrelys that are going to be coming out in the future. So we're going to be running 3 Purrely, my friend Purrely spell. It's a continuous spell card. And the continuous spell card states that you can pay 500 life points to reveal 3 Purrely cards from your deck, except My Friend Purrely. And your opponent randomly picks one for you, adds it to your hand, shuffles the rest into your deck. If a face-up Purrely XYZ monster you control leaves the field because of an opponent's card, even during the damage step, you can add up to 3 Purrely quick play spells with different names from your graveyard to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. So this is kind of your recycler, and also this card, the fact that it works during the damage step as well, because so many cards always say except during the damage step. It makes it kind of a really unique card in this archetype. So you're going to be running, so now on to your quick play spells. Your quick play spells, you're going to be running 3 Purrely Pretty Memory, and I do not have a copy to read, so I'll be reading this one. So the quick play spells have a common theme. All the quick play spells have an option to special summon, or if you discard one card, you can special summon one level 1 Purrely monster from your deck. Now, if that sounds familiar, it's because the runic cards do essentially the same thing, except without the discard. So the runics can special summon one monster from the extra deck, and each of them are quick plays. I think that there's a lot of synergy between runic and Purrely. If you'd like to see a deck build of that, an experimental build of that, please let me know in the comments below. I will put it together and I will profile it for you, and you can say yay, nay, or needs more work. So for Purrely Pretty Memory, it is going to be your first quick play spell. It's going to state each player gains 1,000 life points. Then you can apply the following effect. Discard one card, and if you do, special summon one level 1 Purrely monster from your deck. A Purrely XYZ monster that has this card as material gains the following effect. Once per turn, you can send one other card you control to the graveyard, then target one card your opponent controls and attach it to this card as material. So it turns your XYZ monsters into a Silent Honor Arc, a mini Silent Honor Arc. So next you're going to be playing 3 Purrely Delicious Memory. And it seems like I'm kind of like zooming through. If it seems like I'm kind of zooming through this, please don't take offense to that. It's just because this is my 4th time recording this. I've had other types of technical issues. But Purrely Delicious Memory does state that it says choose one monster on the field. Until the end of the next turn, it cannot be destroyed by battle. After choosing a card, then you can apply the following effect. Discard one card, and if you do, special summon one level 1 Purrely monster from your deck. And that's going to be on theme with all the quick play spells. And then the second effect states that a Purrely XYZ monster that has this card as material gains the following effect. Gains 300 attack and defense for each material attached to it. So this is supposed to make your Purrelys bigger than your opponent's monsters. And you're going to be cycling through quite a few of your spell cards in one turn. So the next you're going to be playing is 3 Purrely Happy Memory. And it's going to be another quick play spell card that is... It'll be another one of your quick play spells that you'll be playing within the deck amongst quite a few. And I imagine we're going to have some more that'll be coming out as well. So Purrely Happy Memory states that choose one card on the field until the end of the turn. The first time it would be destroyed by a card effect, it is not destroyed. After choosing a card, then you can apply the following effect. Discard one card or special summon one of your level 1 Purrely monsters from your deck. And the only thing I don't like is it doesn't say hand or deck. That's the only thing I don't like, because sometimes you can have more Purrelys in your hand and you can't special summon those from your hand. I guess it's more set up for you to discard those ones that are in your hand. Anyway, continue on with the effect. A Purrely XYZ monster that has this card as material gains the following effect. This card can attack monsters a number of times each battle phase up to the number of Purrely Happy Memory attached to it plus 1. So 1 attached means 2 attacks. Then you're going to be playing 3 of your deck's field spell, which is going to be Stray Purrely Street. Okay, and that's going to state that the field spell actually in itself is pretty decent. If you're going to be running Runic, if you're going to be running this deck with Runic, or if I'm going to build this with Runic, I think that I would probably put maybe this card to 2 and then the Runic Fountain to 2. I don't think you would want to max out on either one. Anyway, getting back to the main deck profile at hand, it says your opponent cannot target Purrely monsters you control with card effects. The turn they are special summoned. Once per turn, if a face-up Purrely XYZ monster you control leaves the field because of an opponent's card, special summon one level 1 Purrely monster from your deck or graveyard. Once per turn, during the end phase, you can target one Purrely XYZ monster on the field. Attach one Purrely quick play spell from your deck or your graveyard to that monster. Pretty awesome effect, in my opinion. And for the last 2 Purrely monsters, Purrely cards, you're going to be running 2 Purrely Yeep. And Purrely Yeep is essentially, it states that you can target one Purrely XYZ monster you control, special summon one card from your extra deck, one Purrely XYZ monster with a different rank by using that target as material, but return it to the extra deck during the end phase of the next turn. Then it states that you can banish this card from the graveyard to target up to 3 Purrely monsters in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck. You can only activate 1 Purrely Yeet per turn. Now, the way it's worded is it's worded like it's going to be, it's future proofed. So it says 1 Purrely XYZ monster of a different rank. Now, we only have rank 2 and rank 7 Purrely XYZ monsters. So I imagine we'll be getting some more sometime in the future. And with that being said, that's going to be all of your main deck Purrely monsters. Let's move on to the other rest of the deck. So, as you know, I am pretty much a a creature of habit, It's going to be 3 bestial druid worm. I'm kind of tired of explaining this one. I think we already know why. It's going to be 3 magnamut, but the difference here is you're going to be maxing out with 3 saronir. I believe you can also run 1 baldrake in this deck as well. The reason why you're maxing out on all of them is just because you have literally 3 main deck monsters. These are the best hand traps in the game as of right now. There's really nothing else I can say about them. You're going to be running 3 Pot of Prosperity. So your Pot of Prosperities are going to be how you dig for your other Purrely cards, especially your Purrely monsters. You need ways to find those out so that way you can get to them and start Xyz summoning to, beat your opponent's face in. Then you're going to be running 3 Triple Tactics Talent. Okay, and Triple Tactics Talent is essentially to kind of help you dig a little bit more or to steal resources from your opponent, make it that much harder for them to out your Purrely XYZ monsters. Then you're going to be running 3 Forbidden Droplet, and this is going to just help you kind of push through on turn 2 and also kind of help you maintain the upper hand while you're playing the game. Then you're going to be running 1 for 1. All the monsters that we have that need to be summoned are level 1, so it makes perfect sense. And 1 Call by the Grave just for some extra protection. I'm sorry about that glare there. Hopefully you can see that. So that's going to be it for all of the main deck. Let's go ahead and move into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be running 2 Purrely Happiness. And Purrely Happiness is going to be essentially your boss monsters. Your rank 7 monsters are going to be the ones that are going to be essentially your boss monsters. I don't know how else better to say it other than that. But its effect is that it states that it can also be rank summoned by using it can be XYZ summoned by using a rank 2 monster with 5 or more materials attached to it. So during your main phase, you can detach 1 material from this card, and if you do, negate the effects of all monsters your opponent currently controls until the end of this turn. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this card's effect activation if it has a level 1 Purrely monster as material. When an attack declared involving this card has 5 or more materials, inflict 1,500 damage to your opponent. This card is the sauce. I don't really know how else better to say it than that. It's a big monster. It grows, and then of course your quick play spells are going to add on to it and give it more and added effects. It does effect damage. It's a skill drain on your turn, and it's a spell speed 4. I don't know how else to explain it other than that. And so you're going to be running 2 Purrely Noir. This will be your second rank 7 monster. It's going to state that you can also XYZ summon this card using a rank 2 monster you control of 5 or more materials. This card is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects while it has 5 or more materials. You can detach 2 materials from this card, then target 1 card your opponent controls or in their graveyard, place it on the bottom of the deck. This is a quick effect if this card has a level 1 Purrely monster as material. Notice that did not say once per turn. So you can, if you have 10 materials, you can detach. You can bounce back 5 times on your opponent's turn. That's absolutely bonkers. All right, moving on. So the next you're going to be running is Purrely Happiness, 2 of their rank 2 monsters. So this is going to be the beginning of the rank 2 monsters. The rank 2 monsters are going to be essentially how you rank up into your rank 7s. So I imagine that there's going to be a rank 1 at some point, or maybe a rank 5 as well. Anywho, it states that at the end of the damage step, if this card battle, you can add 1 Purrely card from your deck to your hand. If this card has Purrely Happy Memory as material, you can have the attack of 1 monster on the field. Up to thrice per turn, when you activate a Purrely quick play spell card, quick effect, you can attach that card on the field to this card as material. Then you can return 1 spell or trap card your opponent controls to the hand. So it facilitates some. Most of the Purrelys, the rank 2s, will have a quick effect to do something. Bouncing a spell or trap back to your opponent's hand is not really that great, not unless this is already on the board. So, I mean, it's kind of good of getting rid of there can only be ones and or there can be only one and all that other kind of stuff. So, moving on, we're going to move on to Purrely Beauty. And Purrely Beauty is another card, and I think this is the better of the two so far. And what it states that once per turn, you can target one effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of this turn. If this is a quick effect if this card has a purely pretty memory as material. Up to thrice per turn, when you activate a purely quick play spell, you can attach it. You can attach that card on the field to this card as material, then change the battle position of one of your opponent's monsters. So, with it being a quick effect and battle position change, it can kind of help you maintain that control. So that way, you're not getting attacked over and things like that. So it seems pretty decent in my opinion. You're going to be running 2 Purrely Plump. So Purrely Plump states that once per turn, you can target up to 2 spells or traps in your graveyard, attach them to this card. Now notice it doesn't say purely spell or traps. It just says 2 spell or trap cards in the graveyards, attach them to this card. So you can even take your opponent's. This is a quick effect if this card has a purely delicious memory as material. Up to thrice per turn, you can activate a purely quick play spell card. Quick effect, you can attach that card on the field to this card as material. Then you can banish one monster on the field until the end phase. So Purrely Plump is going to be your best. It's definitely going to be your best monster, your best rank 2 monster. It not only can banish a card, but it can also steal cards out of the graveyard and attach it to itself. Pretty awesome, in my opinion. So you're going to be running, for your rank 1, you're going to be running 1 Assembled Nightingale. And then for your rank 6s, you're going to be running Willow Founder and Beatrice, just to help facilitate some play since you are running Bestials. And then to end the extra deck, we're going to be running 1 Linkuriboh and 1 Relinquish Anima, since we are running a level 1 strategy. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of YGO Podcast and watching the deck profile. This has been an awesome deck. This deck is going to do nothing but get better, in my opinion. As we know, the Yu-Gi-Oh community loves cute, furry stuff. I don't have anything against furries, but I will say that Yu-Gi-Oh community, we do love our cute cards, our beautiful cards, our waifu cards, and I believe that this deck is just going to keep on getting support. It's going to keep getting more powerful, and this is only the beginning. If you're still tuning in, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe. The channel is growing. Please join me on my socials at YGO TCG Decks. That's going to be the Facebook group. I have an Instagram. It'll be YGO_OG. That'll be my Instagram. And then I also have a Twitter account at YGO Podcast. Please follow me on my socials. Look forward to chatting with you guys in the future. Take care, and I will talk to you guys and see you at the next conversation. Take care.